My name is Stephanie Postel, and I currently am the owner of Anchor Heating and Air in Charleston, South Carolina. And I also serve in an advisory role to the LadyTitans board, which I am very, very honored to do. It's great to be able to give back to our industry and work with some amazing ladies. So that makes it a lot of fun. I also today get the honor of hosting this meeting and being on a panel with our guest, Ashley Thornton, today. So welcome, Ashley.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Yes. And so we'll get to what our meeting is about in just a second. But if you joined us over the last several months, you know that we've been doing a new little kind of a icebreaker. And so we want participation. So whether you use the chat or you pipe up and give your answer, we want to hear about your grit and your grace. So might be something that you're struggling with right now, might be something that you have been struggling with and you broke through, or you're giving yourself a little grace because it's been really hard and maybe you're taking a break from it. But your sisters in the trades are here today so that we can be with you. We can think about you, lift you up in whatever help that you need. But today we want you to just share very quickly anything that you're struggling with or something that you've had some success with recently, something that's exciting that's coming up. So take a few minutes, think about that, and then let's hear some grit and grace and some good things going on out there. Come on, ladies.
Looks like Rachel has one.
Oh, good.
Hello, everyone. So my grit and grace this morning is we finalized a scaled commission for our service technicians. So rather than you get full pop even if you discount, so I make nothing, you still get full money. We've changed our whole situation to go into a scaled commission.
Nice.
However, our managers this morning says to me, "Oh my gosh, who'd made this spreadsheet? Who gave all this information? Because it's just wonderful. And they put so much effort and work into it." And I got to say, yeah, that was me a week ago when I sent this to you, when we had 4 conversations about this specific program. So I'm trying to have a little grace of maybe you're too busy, but
there you go.
Had a few conversations already about this specific thing. And we came to a decision. So now we came to a decision, and I know you didn't look at the data. Makes me really question what I did all week. So that's my day today so far.
It sounds like a major accomplishment, though. So I would definitely give yourself a pat on the back for there. Yes. So that sounds pretty big. And
yes,
I think
we made a sales training program. We're introducing scaled commissions, and I'm sure I'm going to get yelled at a few times, but I got a pretty thick skin, so they can't get to me on that.
That's okay. Well, good. Well, congratulations on getting that done. And I would definitely say that that's a place where you need to have grace.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much.
For sure. Who else? Let's see. Somebody said struggling with coworkers and not fitting into a new environment. There you go. We hear you, even though you can't talk out loud. We hear you there. So let's see. Who else? Come on, ladies. Everything isn't perfect out there. This is where you can share with your friends.
I'll go. So I started a business last year, and I'm learning all the businessy things that I know of, but I didn't do for myself because I was so busy working on this business. So that's super fun. I had no idea that there were so many taxes. Right? I'm like,
oh. Or that you have to pay them.
Or that you have to pay them, right? And I'm like, oh, yay.
Wait till you get to insurance and you have to pay that too.
Please stop. I'll call you later.
Oh, somebody else. I'm struggling with, Charlotte. I'm struggling with getting out of bed every morning lately to be at work at 7 a.m. because of my 8-month pregnant body. We hear you, sister. We totally get that. So you don't forget. My youngest are 20. My son is here right now. Twins that are 20. You still don't forget. So we're with you on that. Who else? One more. Giving myself some
Hey,
grace.
everybody.
Been putting
My
it
name is
over-
Brandy.
Okay, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I've got a couple of sick kids here at home today, so they're watching TV and whatnot. But this is my first meeting here. I did the lounge last time, but this is my first actual meeting. I'm with Hellgate Plumbing and Heating in Missoula, Montana.
Nice.
And I see Hannah says that she's giving herself some grace because she's putting a lot of work in with standard operating procedures and developing those. And that's kind of where we are as well. And we've come a long way, but there is still some work to be done, but we are making progress. And I think we do have to give ourselves a little grace for that, one step at a time, right?
Definitely. Definitely. And ask how you can make that quicker and easier, because there are ways that it can be quicker and easier for you. So ask for people to share or to help you out or whatever. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. This is about robbing and duplicating.
Yeah.
So, all right. One more. I got a promotion. I'm second in command. Woo woo. But I've noticed that some of the techs don't respect the position I'm in now. That definitely comes with the territory. So keep working on that. They're commanding respect and demanding respect are two different things. So show your knowledge, get in the truck with them, show that you want to see what they're doing and understanding their position, and that will go a long way for sure. So, but lots of people here that can offer help in that. So. All right. Well, thanks, ladies, again for participating. It definitely makes it so much more fun. I have one thing that I will challenge you with today. At any time while we're talking, screenshot what we're doing. Take a picture of the screen. There are some amazing, well, not some, all amazing women on this call today. And I think what happens sometimes is that we only see each other during this call and we forget until we get together again. So I would challenge you. One, we have an awesome Facebook page, thanks to some ladies on our board who are really working on that board and on our membership. So look for these names. Make sure you've joined our Lady Titans group. That's a huge thing. And then I would say make some connections outside of this, right? I mean, this is where literally when I say sisters, I mean it, right? These are the people in the trades that understand what you are doing every day. You might have best friends that you hang out with at the pool or in your neighborhood. They don't get what this is, being in the trades. And so it's okay that, these ladies are across the country. You can talk to them anytime, and maybe sometimes more than you talk to your friends that live in the neighborhood. So make sure that you make connections outside of this meeting today, because Pantheon's coming up. Some other big industry events are coming up at the end of the year, and you will see these ladies there. And there is nothing cooler than showing up to an event where you already have your girls in their Lady Titan sweatshirts, and then you can just all hang out together at the bar, or the pool, or whatever party it is. You're never alone when you go to one of these events because you are Lady Titan. So that's a big thing. So. But to jump in today, I want to give a shout out to Ashley Bio, who was not able to be here today because she's in training. Ashley works for ServiceTitan, but this was really her brainchild to have a theme of this meeting where we are celebrating women. Obviously, that's all of us here, but to also really make a connection between what we know as women and what we've learned through our relationships working with men in the industry. right? Because if we make ourselves islands, we can never really make the connections within our workplace that we really need to make. We know what the technicians and what the men do out there, right? And there are some female technicians, obviously now many more of those, thank goodness, that are out there doing the outside work. And there's a lot of really awesome work going on the inside. And truly, we need to really just develop an appreciation for each other. And that comes through communication. But sometimes it comes through the different really close relationships that you might have. One might be that you are married to someone that you work with. So that was really the idea today is for Ashley and I to give a little bit of our experience working with our husbands and growing businesses in the trades, and to really start the conversation with you all about how maybe that is changing how we think about the technicians in the field, or maybe even your relationship is that you are working with a brother or a father or somebody else in the industry within your company. And so what does that look like? And how does that look like at Thanksgiving dinner, right? So we are going to bring Ashley Thornton in, let Ashley introduce herself, and then we'll get started from there. So again, welcome, Ashley.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. And this is actually my first Zoom with Lady Titans, but all the females in my office, they have joined and they're Lady Titans, and we're really excited about this. And we are willing to help out, answer questions. My husband and I, we've been in business since for 10 years now. Actually, this is our 10th year. And we've made all the mistakes, but we've learned from them and we keep getting better and we're continuously growing. And let me tell you, it was not easy. It's still not easy, even today. It's not easy working with him and separating, work-life balance, but we are working on it. So anyways, I co-own First Choice Air Solutions in Fort Worth, Texas. Like I said, we've been in business since 2013. We grew by 36% last year, so we're continuously growing. We just added a new trade, so that's pretty exciting. And like I said, and I love to network. Anybody has questions about things, adding processes and stuff, I will help out however I can. I'm on Facebook, I'm on all social media, or you can get my email, and I'd love to help any of you guys out.
Well, again, thank you, Ashley, for being here. So to kind of get started with your story, what role within the company are you, occupying currently? Has that role changed? What is your husband doing? Kind of give us a little bit of that backstory.
Okay. Well, when we first started, it was I worked in the legal field for this, and so he just had worked for another HVAC company in our area, and he ended up deciding it was time to start his own company. Already had his license. And so he was one man in a truck for about a year. And at that time, I was still working at the law firm, and I continued to work at the law firm for 2 years. And then finally, I decided, you know what? Let's do it. I'm going to come and I'm going to join the trades and, help you. And I absolutely love this industry. It's very different from the legal field, but I love it. But now I started out doing accounting. I do not have an accounting background. I hate numbers, but I appreciate the fact that I did do it. I actually did it for the first 7 years of our business. And I'm very grateful now because I have a controller now, I have an accountant now, and then I have an accounts receivable payable person. I know the books in and out just like they do. And it was self-taught, which is pretty cool. But now I'm still, I help out. I just oversee, I would basically be considered a call center manager. I'm really working on delegating stuff. My husband and I are both self-proclaimed control freaks. And so he's got to stay in his lane. I stay in mine, but I'm definitely trying to delegate more where I'm just overseeing and networking a lot more and doing things like this.
Awesome.
And then his role now, he just oversees all departments and stuff. He's not in a truck anymore. sometimes for the longest time, it was hard for me not to push him to go into the truck because he is such a good technician. And so now he won't get in the truck.
That's some of the hardest things that you have when you're working with, a spouse or, a brother or uncle or whatever, when they are really, that's what their forte is, really is being out in the field. But then when you become the business owner, you've really got to focus on what's going on in the business. So getting that expertise there. So, well, thank you for sharing that for sure. So I'll share just a little bit of my background. So my husband and I own Anchor Heating and Air in Charleston, South Carolina. This is actually the second business that we've grown, the third HVAC company that I've been with. I was an operations manager for 7 years. And I only tell you that because I always have to tell and be honest, is that I was my husband's boss at one time. Before we had separate lives and then ended up separately, and then one day came together. But in the grand scheme of things, because we had a separate relationship at that time, it has really given us a different perspective when we did come together, because he had his superpower and I had mine. And so we were able to use that in order to actually, start a company and be able to grow now our second company. So I like what Ashley said about, staying in your lane. And that has been really a guiding principle for us, because I run the business side and he runs the technical side, meaning the technicians and the install department and all of that. And I think that it definitely has given me a better perspective and a better appreciation for him, seeing all the things that he does. And then I stay in my lane, right? I know the product and the service that we sell, because I know that he stands behind it and he's training those technicians and the installers. And so I can train my staff inside to be able to promise that high level of service, because they're doing such a great job on the outside. So I think, like I said at the beginning, having great communication and being able to have an appreciation for what each other is doing certainly goes a long way. Now, it's difficult sometimes to separate it because you're always together. And so you're always talking about business. Does anybody else, by a raise of hands or whatever that you do on Zoom, either work with your husband or work with a close family member? There you go. Anybody feel challenged by doing that? There you go. So let's, I want to, kind of give everybody a minute, maybe just to think about what some of those challenges are. Again, I think the biggest thing is there not being this divide between what the men do and the women do, right? Because truly in any company, it's about what the team looks like together. So I guess one question I would have, and maybe it'll start a little conversation, is there any training maybe that you've done within your company, or even a conversation that you've had with your husband and then brought it back into the business about how to improve the communication with everyone?
Let me think about that. I would say the biggest thing for me was my husband has been in this industry and he was brought up in this industry and had a wealthy lifestyle and stuff, actually growing up. My father-in-law, actually, this is an interesting story, but he owns another large AC company in our same market. Oh, wow. But we decided to start our own. And I grew up, my parents worked, 8 to 5 and, lived paycheck to paycheck and stuff. And that's what I was doing too. And so I think the communication, one, he had to kind of break into me on how to grow a business, because that was something that we constantly were fighting on, because I was just head down working all the time as opposed to growing the company and stuff. So I think that I have to share that with other employees and stuff who are actually going to be potential managers within our company, and that, you know, sometimes you have to see the bigger picture of it stuff to grow. And so I think it was a good combination for both of us though, and it's helped us get to where we are now. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see in the chat, Rachel said the first rule put in place is no shop talk after 5 p.m. Anybody else have some similar rule to that? I think that's smart. I think it's tough. I think that's that makes it difficult for sure. But I think that there are definitely those times where you just have to shut it off and just say, we can't talk about business, because we can talk about it all the time, right? Even in our situation, you know, we work together, but we don't, because he is, you know, he's out doing sales, or he's checking on the install crews, or so we don't see each other all day long, right? And so the time that we have together is in the afternoon, when we're kind of catching up on the day and what did you see and what did you do and all of those kinds of things. So I think that it can be difficult, but there are certainly those times. And I've had to catch myself probably more than anything, where we're out on a Friday night and you're like, oh, I just want to talk about, you know, whoever, technician or installer or, you know, whatever. And then you just have to say no, like we're not going to do that, because it can be all consuming, because it always comes back to business. Now, on the other side of that, sometimes on Friday nights after a long week, we come up with some of the best ideas that we have for the company, right? Because you are able to collaborate with this person that you're working with all the time. So that is definitely that's awesome that you have been able to do that. So what else? What are some other are there any things that Ashley, are y'all doing anything specifically within your company with other men and women that you are working or have done to improve relationships?
Well, one of the big things that actually I just recently implemented was, and this is kind of, I don't know if it's harsh or what, but it's a no tolerance policy. We're not allowed, if anybody's not in the room, say, you know, you're frustrated with the tech and you're the dispatcher or something, you have to go to that person. You have to bring them into the office and talk to them. Now we have an HR person that people can go to if needed, but I just found, even if people get frustrated and stuff, it's just better not to go, especially with our size right now, to not go express your frustrations to other people. Instead, it's just better to go ahead and go directly to that person, because they're the only one who can fix what the issue is. And I swear, 90% of the time, it's miscommunication. If there's an argument, it's because of miscommunication.
I agree. That is so true. And it can happen between, you know, owners or managers and people on your team, because you heard them say something one way. And to be honest, it depends on what your mindset is at the time that you heard what was said, right? Because most of the time the intent is not to hurt others, right? But sometimes if you're in that headspace, you hear it that way. And so when you go to them and you can ask, did you mean it this way? Right. And that's why having a really open culture and open communication within your culture is huge, because then you're able to clear up any of those misconceptions. I would say one other thing that we have done that I love, and I saw somebody put DISC, is that we use the color code as well. And we did that with LadyTitans, and we've done it in our company before, because a lot of misunderstandings come from a place of communicating of how you communicate and not how people receive it. So when you can learn about other people's colors and who they are and their personalities, then you are able to deliver things the way that they might hear it. I actually just did a talk in Ohio a couple weeks ago, and a lot of people live by the golden rule, right? Treat others as you would like to be treated. The rule really is treat others as they would like to be treated, because just because you do something one way doesn't mean that that's how somebody else wants it. So it's always a very good rule to ask them, how do you like this? I think we miss on that in a lot of ways, because we think that sometimes it's our technicians or our CSRs, or they want more money, and maybe it's more time. There's so many things that I think we can learn about just talking to each other and getting to know each other better. So that's one thing that we've done. Any other things? I would say, Ashley, what about if you have maybe if you and your husband aren't getting along, does that ever come into just how your staff receives what's going on or perceives what's going on within the business?
Absolutely. And we are type A's, reds to the top. I mean, we are just alike. So there are more times than not that we are maybe get frustrated with each other, but we've learned over a 10-year span how to deal with that with each other. And we both know if it's time to go away. But I do think the color coding has helped big time. We started doing that, and personality tests have helped tremendously on learning about different employees and stuff. But whenever the main thing for him and I is to stay in our own lanes, but then really have a respect for one another. And I mean, my husband is probably one of the best technicians there is in DFW, Texas, and I know that. And so I have so much respect for his craft, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without him. And I know that. Do I think I could, if something were to happen, could I continue to run this business? Absolutely. But I do have a lot of respect for him. So whenever I'm getting frustrated with things, sometimes I have to really think about what he specializes in. And, if I'm getting angry or something, instead look at it through a reflective of, wow, he got us here. I mean, if I wouldn't have had him, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I completely relate to that. I think that is exactly right. Again, same thing with us. Do I think that I could continue to run the company? Yes. But having that appreciation for what he is able to do really, I think, has increased my appreciation for what our technicians, what our whole staff does, right? Because I think even more, especially because the summer comes, right? And it's all out hard work, 150 or 60 degree attics all the time. And so like when we get home at night, like 8:30, like lights out, right? I mean, they're done. And I think for me, I can understand that how difficult that can be. Me, I worked all day. Mentally, I'm drained, but I'm not necessarily exhausted at 8:30. And so when I can look at him and understand that, I will tell you that it's given me a better appreciation for knowing what the wives of my technicians are going through, right? Because then then they're tired, they're at home, but their wives might not have the appreciation. They appreciate them, of course, as their husband, but they might not have the appreciation for what they do in their job every day just because they don't know. And on top of that, they're home raising children and all of the mom things that are going on. So what are the things that we can do as owners then to say, hey, the wives, we see you, right? Or, hey, what things can we do to make culturally not only better for our technicians, male or female, but for their spouses as well. So I think that because we both work in the trades, maybe we have a little bit more insight there. So I think that's one thing.
Yeah, I think one thing that we did, I mean, like one of my head managers over new construction last week. It was his birthday. And so, and his whole family was on spring break. And so his wife, who's a teacher, I mean, they all came up here and had lunch and stuff. And we typically will do that. I mean, we have about at least every quarter, we'll invite families up here to come and do lunch and stuff and let them see one, the office, and then two, just relate to all of us and really try and connect as a team. And that includes spouses, children, everybody. I think it's really important that, and it's, for me, it's like, man, for these women to, I mean, your husband's going to be out late on, you know, in the summer. And sometimes that can get a little bit, you know, I mean, you can question your husband, like, where were you last night or something? That does happen. So it's giving them the assurance that, you know, this is why they're out, but they're working really hard for you and your family.
Sure. Well, and then the other things, you know, that we can do too, are highlighting what their hard work they're doing, right? Giving them the recognition on a daily basis. Again, whether it's, even if it's not really just about technicians. Honestly, I mean, what if we have male CSRs or male parts runners or whatever? Oh, sorry, my Gracie is here. She's ready to get out. You know, I think, again, I don't want to just focus on that it would be technicians. I mean, there are many other male and female roles that we are running within our company now that are maybe different than they were even 5 years ago, right? And so, so just having an appreciation for all of that, I think it just leads to a better culture across the board. So many of our companies are growing so quickly as well, right? I mean, last year at this time, I mean, there were 3 of us. And now we're working on 11, right? And so, I mean, that's a lot of change in a short time. And so it's like your family going from, you know, the 2 of you to having whatever septuplets. All of a sudden we have to learn how to get along with each other. So again, we just go back to that, you know, growing, having good communication is a huge thing. Well, so I don't want to stop it here. There's certainly, we want people to be able to ask questions, and we've got some great stuff in the chat about some different things that people are doing and morale and culture and all of that kind of stuff. Are there any specific questions? I don't know, Sarah, if you've seen something that maybe I've missed as we've gone through. Looks like a lot of really great people putting some good information in there. Are there any questions maybe for Ashley or I that somebody might have?
I think Beth has her hand up. Beth Atkinson.
Yep, Beth, what you have? Oop.
She's had her hand up for a very long time, so
Okay.
it's very tiring.
So I was trying to go back through and see if I could see in the chat if there were things that we missed. There we go. Anybody have any questions? Just feel free to ask. Let's see. I see some people working with husband, stepdad, and stepbrother. Megan, woo! That's a challenge. Like really, just you know, anybody struggle with you know, always bringing the family into it when you have lots of other people that are not family working there.
How is it from an employee side, being in a family-owned business? You know, I mean, every business is a family-owned business. And I read that in the email and I was like, oh, they're so right? It starts with everyone has a family, and you go home and you're impacted in any way, whether you own the business or not. You want that business to succeed. So, yeah. Anyone work in a family-owned business? Like lots of family in the business? Yep, Jennifer does. Yep.
For sure.
And I have my mother-in-law here too.
Oh wow, you've got it all.
Yep, my husband, his brother, and then my mother-in-law, and then me.
Wow. Well, and that's the same thing, you know, many of us are bringing our children into the business as well. So my stepson and stepdaughter, which are, I say step, but they're really bonus for me, but they both work in our business. And so then, you know, also they're seeing, you know, their dad and I and our interaction, right? And we, you know, we have to make sure that, because it's no different than being in a family, right? Here's what happens. Mom and dad get in an argument and kids go to bed, right? And then you go make up and they don't know, they didn't see the makeup part, right? And so we have to do that, I think, to be very clear in our communication with, you know, saying I'm sorry or I apologize in front if there is something that could be perceived to them, right? David and I have a very clear understanding of things, but there certainly could be that, you know, you want to make sure that people know that you're okay, that your relationship is solid, because everything in the company is built on that. So making sure that people see that and understand that, because this is the foundation. So I know Randy, I've been following her side hustle. And so now you're working in, you know, your business, and then now you and your husband are doing this side hustle. That can be a challenge too, right? So, tell us a little bit about what's going on with your new business.
We're learning as we go. And my husband and I actually have very opposite personalities. I'm very aggressive and detail oriented, and he's very passive, and it will all work itself out. So we're learning to navigate that. But he works for the city, so he's able to retire at 20 years with full benefits. So he's looking for a retirement plan at only like 40 something. So he wants to do woodworking, so we're focusing on that, and got a laser engraver, and
Nice.
we're making cool stuff.
Right. Route 99, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, and again, I mean, it doesn't just have to be, you know, what you're learning within your HVAC or your trades business, but what is that you're taking home that, you know, again, maybe you did a personality test at work that now you can, in business with your husband, you can start to appreciate that, you know, what he likes and what he is doing and bringing to the business is different than what you bring to the business. But there's power in that, right? I mean, that's the whole deal. I think that, you know, and two, the business aspect, and there's parts that I don't love, and the part that, you know, what I don't love, then he can pick up on, and that can be his strength. Right. I think, again, which is really why Ashley brought this up, is it doesn't necessarily have to be that that's happening in your business with somebody you're married to, right? But that's in building a team, because that's what we're looking to do over the next several years, is to bring more managers in and to grow our team. So then, does it make it okay when I bring in, you know, another man or woman or whoever fills the next role that just is stronger in something that I'm weaker in, right? Being vulnerable in those situations, to recognize in yourself who is smarter and better at what you are doing, that can help you. Ashley, I know you said you were trying to start delegating some things, but when you're starting to delegate, you have to feel like it's somebody that can do it, you know, as good or better than you. I know that can make a difference too.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's I'm one of the, I want to hire people that are smarter than me, and I'm not afraid to take a step back. Actually, I believe she's on the call, but Emma, she just recently started with our company, and she's got a degree in like graphic design and stuff. And she's on the call. And so before, I mean, I had done Facebook posts and stuff, and it's like, oh my, I'm not that person at all. And like, the controller that we just hired, I am so thankful for him, because it's like he's so intelligent. So it is very important for me. I want a team of people who can do things much better than me, and I will appreciate them very much. I mean, I think that's a big thing too, is to, you know, appreciate our team and what they're good at, not really try within our team, is to, have their job be what they love to do every day. Because if you don't, I don't think, work's work. I've had so many fun jobs in my lifetime, but at the end of the day, I was a DJ on the radio station at one point, and it was super fun, but it was a job at the end of the day. So I still think it's really important that we, try and let people that are within your company utilize what makes them an asset to your company.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, if we have a bunch of chiefs around here, like, we'll never get anything done, right? Or the facets of a ring. If it only looks one way, nobody thinks it's beautiful. You got to have all the different facets so that it's more admired. And I think that's really what learning people's personalities and what their strengths are and all of that. Once you start to appreciate that, to me, that's where you really begin to grow as a leader. And then you can be reflective about what you can do and what you can't do. And you begin to look at people. And I think this is what you said before. You begin to look for people that not mirror you, but that have the things that can start to complete you, so that your company and your management team becomes so much more well-rounded, right? And again, whether that's male or female, honestly, it doesn't really matter. You need the details to get filled in so that you can have the best company. I mean, that's what we're all trying to do. I think when you look at it, Sarah brought a great point, not just as owners, but when you are a team member in any of these companies, how do you begin to look at yourself so that you fit into one of those facets, right? And so kind of looking at, if you're new to a company, where is your place going to be? Do you know your personality style? Do you know your disc style? So that you can begin to kind of plug yourself into the jobs that maybe aren't even created yet, right? I tell people that all the time when I interview them, when we're a small company. We don't even know what jobs are possible here because we haven't even dreamed of them yet. We know that they're going to be here. And I love it when somebody can come in and be okay with that. And then they can dream up the job that they want to be. And then I can say, great, thank goodness you've been here. And now you get to have this job that you helped dream up. So I think that's a different perspective as a team member as well. And certainly what I'm looking forward to grow my company, because we're just going to be the best. So hopefully you want to be on this train too. So that's kind of how I think about it. So what else? What are some other things maybe that you've learned, or maybe was it some great advice that maybe somebody gave you? Ashley, whether that's you or if there's anybody else that has something that they are thinking of, or that this topic has brought up for them.
Well, I would say, actually, I keep looking at Ashley on here. She had posted something the other day about like imposter syndrome or something. And I was like, yes, girl, like I feel you on that. So I think getting to relate, I think this is so nice, like within this LadyTitans and stuff. I think somebody said the other day about like LadyTitans, it's like for girls who didn't go to college and stuff, it's kind of like a sorority for girls in the trades and stuff. I cannot emphasize enough, this is what I didn't do in our business for the first 7 years, is I didn't get involved. I didn't ask people questions and stuff. I think communication within each other is so important, and supporting each other. And, and Ashley, I feel you. I just want you to know, like, I thought that was really funny the other day, because I agree.
Yeah. I agree. And sometimes it's funny, like you said, the whole imposter syndrome. I think we all go through that. We just have to acknowledge that, right? Because here I'm, I did a podcast this week. We're running a company, like I'm doing all these things. And then like Ashley calls last night and she's like, are you ready to host the meeting tomorrow? And I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if and so we all go through those times where we're just not sure, but we are more than qualified to do any of this. Any one of you could jump into this position at any time because you have some experience that somebody else doesn't have. And I agree, Ashley. I think there's so much that that's why I challenged you at the beginning. Find somebody in this group and go ask them a question that you already know the answer to. That's what happens. We almost think, well, we already know what the answer is going to be. Well, maybe you'll get a different answer that you're not expecting, right? So go ask a question of something that, you're writing SOPs for something. Okay, that's great. I think SOPs are awesome. And I think we all should have them. And I'm just going to tell you, if you're not using Chat GPT right now, like save yourself some time, okay? Because it'll write them for you. So then you can just go and edit them, right? But like, find out what other people are doing, because we don't have to spend our time on those tasks anymore. There's other stuff that we can be doing to grow companies faster. And now you've got all these brains where you can use those people and what they know, and you don't have to do it all by yourself. But again, sorority, that is the perfect thing for this. Family, whatever you want to call it, it's just great to be able to use the thoughts and ideas of everybody else. I see somebody said, Sarah, said we have a few couples who both work for us, and the biggest difficulty we run into is scheduling. They want same vacation. Sometimes that leaves you shorthanded. That can be a challenge for sure. And I would say for that is like, so then we're caught as owners to say, well, we want you to have family life balance, and y'all are both really awesome, but we don't want you to both be gone at the same time. So kind of how do we work through that? Because truly, I want you to be gone at the same time. Like I want you to enjoy your time together. So what are some things that you're doing? Sarah, what are y'all doing to kind of figure that out?
Well, honestly, we actually tend to just give them the time off and we figure it out. We get somebody else to cover, because we just think, we actually have one couple that the couple works for us and his parents both work for us as well.
Wow.
So, and we're a relatively small company. We have less than 50 employees total. And so it's been interesting, but we also have others, like one of our couples got married last month. Well, all of their friends work for us. Like that's their community. So we actually had to just go to a skeleton crew, have only our remote people on for like 4 hours that day so that everybody could go to the wedding.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it works for us, because that's just a value that we have, is making sure that we have that balance.
This is my my
yes, I love it.
Everything is figure outable, right? And in the to your point, it's figure outable because the value of all of them being off together far outweighs them not, right? And so when we're holding ourselves to these company values, truly, if we believe those company values, then we have to figure it out, no matter whether it means we don't run maintenances, we don't take as many calls, whatever. The short-term loss is worth the long-term gain of people being happy and feeling taken care of within our companies. So that's a huge thing. So props to you and the company and what y'all are doing, because I think that goes a long way, and people remember that. So that's huge. Yeah, sometimes the difficulty when either spouses or family members want to protect other family members, that can happen for sure. That can be a challenge, no question. What other questions do you have? This is pretty cool. Like it's good to hear what other people are doing. Let's see. What else? I don't want to see. I'm trying to just scroll through. Y'all have like filled up the chat today, and that is really awesome. Lots of great. Others could feel like nothing they suggest will be taken seriously, or maybe even that people are talking behind their back when you're attempting to put processes in place. That can definitely. There's a book called Everything is Figure Outable. Oh my goodness. Anybody read that? Sarah suggested that. Definitely getting that book. That's awesome. What else? Anything? Come on. I know somebody's got some questions. Anybody have just questions for Ashley or for me? Just specific situations? Anything else going on? All right. Sarah, Jessica, any Lauren, any final announcements or anything that we need to make just concerning Lady-Titans?
Yep. So thank you for the meeting. It was amazing. Thank you, Ashley and Stephanie, for going through it. This sometimes can be a difficult topic, right? And you guys did it with such grace. Really appreciate that. We do have some announcements. So one of us will be dropping a survey link in here. We want to make sure that we give you information and topics that are relatable to you, and always asking for feedback. So if you could take a minute and fill out the survey, that would be great. Some cool events that LadyTitans will be at coming up are Toolbox Live, which is an owner-operator little summit. It's kind of an informal but very put together by industry leaders talking about operations and best business practices in the trades. So we'll be coming to Nashville at the end of the month. And then we're doing Service Nation International Roundtable where I will be speaking, if I can speak, about marketing like a pro. And then we have our first marketing summit for the trades and Pantheon. And I'm dropping all of these links now. So if you have any questions, you can find us on Facebook, find us on community. Thank you, Jessica, for dropping the survey link. It's in the chat now. So please feel free to take that. We're excited to see you. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. Is there anything that I missed?
I don't think so. One more time, thank you, Ashley, for being willing to drop in with us. And we're glad to have you and your team, all your people, part of LadyTitans now. And again, I'm going to reiterate your challenge. Make sure that you make connection outside of this meeting today. And then our next opportunity to get together is the lounge. So make sure that you are there with your fantastic host, Renee, who is there. And so, but we do this twice a month in some form or fashion. So we're glad to have you all and appreciate you being here today.
Yeah. Y'all make it a great day.